It's Delia. Thanks for clicking on. So, I read energy fields and timelines, and I communicate with guides and helper beings from the other side. Well, I talk to the other people too, but the other entities as well. But I spend more time with um, planetary and galactic guides that are navigating this particular transition with us. And what I was in conversation with them about today was this beginning that's going on. I've heard it referred to as a split in a timeline and or a split in 3D and 5D reality. But what I was getting today seems a little more grounded than that to me, not to disparage anybody else's information. Oftentimes I see pictures, and the pictures that they were showing me was one from like a galactic point of view of the planet, which was an image of, imagine looking at the planet from the space station, or well, farther out than the space station, but from space, right? And the planet, which is not what the story we humans tell about the planet. It is neither a dumb dead rock, nor is it suffering in the ways that we project that it is. The planet is a very potent and dynamic energy being itself that is going through its own spiritual transformation up to its next level. And as in the human race is along for the ride, we have the worst information and the most challenging coping skills, which are mostly trauma-based. So there's a lot of resistance to going along with what the planet is about right now. This raising the vibration and this growth, the planet moving on to its next level. It's very hard to talk about this stuff because human words are made out of, they're all bound in physical stuff. And energetic stuff is not bound by physical stuff. And so it's speaking in metaphors and poetry and similes all the time. So that's part of the hesitation in all of this. Being a translator of messages is, a very peculiar thing. So, or a particular thing. So the planet is evolving. The planet is a spiritual being and it's evolving. It has consciousness, it has awareness. It has superpowers. Not all of which manifest in a physical way, just like humans. But this picture it was showing me from being out in space was as though there's I'm a Star Trek fan, so there's a tractor beam or something gently but firmly pulling up. Remember, this is physical language, so up meaning to the next vibration, to the next energetic awareness place. And as this divine assistance is pulling, helping raise the vibration for the planet, it's also doing it for humans. And we, as humans, the less we resist, the more ease we'll have with the transitions. But non-resistance is misidentified and misapplied in life. Non-resistance would mean maybe laying down like a doormat, or just becoming without volition, or any number of things that it is not. So because we live in a culture, a global world of competition, meaning something is better than others, someone is better than another, which is a false premise. It's like the original sin idea. How can we be of original sin when our bright spark is part of the all it is and has never left and is always a part of that, which most of the religions say that, you know, you are God. But people get very upset because it's not the body personality that's God, but they don't make that distinction. So everybody on the planet right now is here by choice. Everybody has a higher self, which is part of that all it is, the infinite being, that chose to be here for this very time. We're literally built for this. And with the sensitivity and awareness that we're born with, that we're supposed to be using to navigate life, these days we're called empaths and highly sensitive people. But really, the culture has been working really hard to desensitize people, especially in the past 25 years. And what desensitizing does makes it easier for shenanigans and mental and physical health issues, because it's an unnatural state to be not present. But there's very little about the regular world that wants individuals being present with and in their own bodies, connected to their own higher self, and seeing what's happening. They'd much rather have everybody reacting in fear. So there's this, like a magnetic drawing everybody on the planet towards this evolutionary leap, this next chapter in the human experience on the planet. We've been here for billions of years, at least millions. I'm not good with numbers. Long time. And we've been having societies and groups and families and tribes and relationships. We've been doing that for millions of years. But our history is very inaccurate and limited, so that a lot of people think that humanity's only been on the planet for 6,000 years. We have, as conscious beings, not as body personalities, as our infinite self, we have vast knowledge and awareness and experiences. We've been everything under the sun. Everybody on the earth has been everything under the sun, from the best of the best to the worst of the worst, and everything in between. And we're here for this period of time on the planet when the question is you is or is you ain't? Do you want to grow or do you want to stop? And there's a lot of people who think they want to stop, but they don't really understand what that means, because it's like when they start to feel consequences, they go, oh, no, that's not what I meant. And there are entities and energies on the planet that are very much focused on killing all life on the planet. So it starts out as maybe one group or another, but it really is about killing everything and everyone and killing the planet itself. These are entities and energies that didn't originate, were never intended for this planet. And this magnetic pull from the cosmos, raising the vibration, is spoiling this environment for those entities and energies. It's as if humans require more oxygen, and they're giving us more oxygen. And then the other entities that prefer the death, they can't stand that level of oxygen. And so they get, it's playing out a lot like how addictions are right before somebody gets sober or clean or quits abusing in whatever way that they have coped with. And addictions always get meaner and more threatening and crazier before that energy leaves the body. And that's what's happening right now. So there is a shedding, there is a call to, where do you want to go? Where do you want to grow next? And for people who are sensitive, you can be aware of both the opportunity, the possibilities, and simultaneously be aware of the other energy, which is akin to like a black hole energy, what I would imagine. Black hole energy would be, well, when I tuned into them, this is what it feels like just draining all the life out. And there are choices to be made. And the more you're resisting the pull, and the more you're resisting the counter pull and the energies, the harder it is just to be in your own skin right now. And then all of the airwaves, whatever airwaves you may participate in, are all a little more insane than usual. Even, or maybe especially the well-meaning ones, they're in the line of a tremendous amount of nuttiness. And it's like you can't be drinking poison and expecting it not to bother you. It's going to bother you. You can build your tolerance to it and stay sane at the same time, but it's astonishing work what they're doing. So because we have so much misinformation in our society and on a global scale, we have these really old, not really old, but we have these old stories, old meaning between 2,500 and 6,000 years, that have the ones, I mean, there's billions of stories that were not being heard, that are not part of our culture or anybody's culture. And yet, the ones that we do have are really riddled with inaccuracies and biases. Um, the competition thing, which is, tell the story. What is it? How does it go? The dominant, the victor writes the history. So even as long as we're in a competitive culture, which they all are, mostly, the information we have is inherently biased because the history is written by the victor. So to get to the truth of something, it takes dedication and research and a really well-developed no bullshit detector. You have to be calibrated intelligently. So you can have kind of not beginner's luck, but you can randomly get a great sense of what's right and what's wrong. But if you practice a way to tell what's right and what's wrong, then you're going to have a solid sense of how to navigate. So that's the light and the heavy, or the water and paint thinner that I talked about in the last video. And then once you have your own way of knowing what's true, not from your body personality self, but from this alignment with your higher self, that it will express through your body, it makes life a lot easier. And right now, there's so much misinformation flying that it's very easy to be confused and discombobulated and overwhelmed. And to not, if you listen to anybody talk about the future right now, none of it's good. We are in this particular period of transition, and there is kind of a tug of war going on, and overwhelm, overstimulating, flooding the system with lies and really horrible, provocative things, is enough to knock out a lot of people, right? Because it's just overwhelming. And one of the things that's most useful in that situation is to find something very tangible that's really real to you, that you can do every day. So not everybody lives near trees, but if you do, you can have a routine where you go and visit some trees, or one tree in particular, on a daily basis, and ask the tree for a healing. Proximity is going to help because we're so awash in fake images, AI, or everything is just mechanical and technical and concrete. So by being near a tree, it'll help every part of your system to remember that you're a human being, and that is better than being a machine, for one thing. And you can put your back against the spine of the tree and your head, just kind of lean into the tree trunk with your back and just stand there and breathe for a while. And just, be curious. Make a game of how deep you can breathe. And just see about coming into your body more. And as you're doing that, you can ask the tree for a healing. And trees are wonderful healers. I'd be so grateful to give you a healing. And the connecting to the planet through your feet and inviting that planetary energy to come up through your feet and go around your system the ways it knows how, and just receiving, being companionable with one of our siblings, the trees. It's very restorative. If you don't have trees, you can play with your pet. You can go for walks. You can go swimming. There's a million things that don't cost anything for you to start to do every day. And really the only criteria is it something that you feel more you when you've been doing it? Feel more connected to your higher self and less, kind of awash with the crazy. So once you've done that, chances are you'll be aware that there is an elevated invitation going on. And you can sit down and journal, or you can just close your eyes and breathe and ask about what can you be looking out for on a daily basis to do to contribute to this transformation. Could be writing random notes of inspiration, living on windshields, car windshields. It could be opening a door for somebody in or out of a store. It could be, calling somebody instead of just thinking about them, or texting them, or texting them to make a call if that's the protocol. But there are millions of things that you could do every day that will take you out of the programming circuits and the mental loops that are being projected out to keep everybody occupied. And once you've broken out of the loop, you can do the things that make your life wonderful to you. You can, by focusing on what makes life wonderful for you in your book, helps to bring that more into the world instead of just the awfulness and the cacophony. The less you can be aware of what's going on in the world without doing a minute by minute update, or even a day by day update, I'm sorry to say. You can keep up with the big picture of what's happening without knowing every minute of what's happening. And a more constructive use of your energies can be this focusing on what makes life good for you. And of course, that means no domination over anybody and no seventh grade shenanigans, right? It's about clearing out all that stuff and just being together with your real nature, which is going to be fun and creative and playful and imaginative and community minded, because we're social beings. It takes a lot to get us out of that, but that's how we're built. And if you're a introvert and a highly sensitive person, or an empath, Sure, you have trouble with groups, even groups of friends, maybe. And a lot of that is a trauma response and a defense against the crazy society. And there's nothing you need to change necessarily, but it's good to just kind of get into a practice of not resisting everything all the time and asking the universe, say, hey, universe, show me something today that really makes sense to me. And then spend your day looking for that. So the messages that I was getting earlier were about encouraging you to find what brings you joy and peace. What do you enjoy doing? Who do you enjoy talking to? And participating in that kind of uplifting activity, because that's a huge contribution to all of that's going on. You don't have to be, you can be plugged into a community, but you don't have to be plugged into a community to make a big difference right now. Plugging into your higher self and doing the things that you love is a great contribution right now. Being kind, it's a great contribution right now. And no, I'm not asking you to spiritual bypass or be kind to the thugs or any of that. Awareness, you can be aware of all that stuff without living it. And if you are living it right now, then you can still find bright sparks during the day. I know you can, because I have during many different times in my life. And Viktor Frankl, who was in Auschwitz, wrote about that in Man's Search for Meaning. So there's lots of precedent for it. So there's a lot of transition going on. And the more you're connecting with your infinite self, and the more you're coming into your body and into your system and into this moment, not the next one, and not the last one, but this moment, your nervous system is going to have a chance to calm down, and that will help everything. So I hope you try some of these tools. We do have a lot of help. There's a lot of helper beings, and each person has some amazing helper beings. So the more you can tune into yours, the better for everybody. All right. I'd love to hear your comments about how this has landed for you. See you next time.